Hello and a very warm welcome to a brand new edition of Verdict 2015 with Rajya Sabha Television. Right here with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with today's headlines. Flurry of rallies by political parties ahead of the third phase of polling. Amit Shah addresses a public gathering in Buxar, Lalu in Chapra constituencies. BJP President Amit Shah warns voters, says that if Nitish Kumar comes to power, Lalu Prasad and his party would indirectly control his government. Chief Election Commissioner Nazim Zaidi says he is satisfied with the polling process in Bihar, Lord's efforts of expenditure monitoring team. And today we throw the spotlight on the powerless villages of Betia district, where people are literally hoping for some light at the end of the tunnel. Well, the Election Commission has asked its officials to ensure deployment of central paramilitary forces at all polling stations in Bihar during the remaining phases of the assembly polls to ensure free and fair voting. Chief Election Commissioner Naseem Zaidi and Election Commissioners A.K. Jyoti and Om Prakash Rawat directed the district magistrates and superintendents of police to ensure deployment of CPMFs inside all polling stations. CPMFs have already been deployed in the Naxalite-affected areas and would be further strengthened. On the second day of their Bihar visit on Monday, the Commission held meetings to review poll preparedness for the fourth and fifth phases of Bihar elections and expressed satisfaction with the arrangements, especially on the law and order front. Zaidi said a large number of non-bailable warrants have been executed and more than 50% of the licensed arms have been deposited with the authorities, which has helped ensure free and fair polling in the earlier phases. There are 3 phases of voting remaining in the Bihar polls on October 28th, November 1st and November 5th. The counting of votes will be done on November 8th.
बहुत अच्छा काम प्रदेश में हो रहा है, जिसमें सभी प्रकार की प्रिवेंटिव एक्शंस जैसी कार्रवाइयाँ की गई हैं, जैसे नॉन बेलेबल वारंट का एग्जीक्यूशन है। प्रदेश में इस बार 50% से भी ज़्यादा शस्त्रों को थानों में डिपॉजिट कराया गया है। इसका भी असर शांति व्यवस्था बनाए रखने में और उचित वातावरण बनाए रखने में हम लोगों को मिला है।
Well, joining me for a chat this afternoon is our guest Rai Atul Krishna, Deputy Resident Editor of the Hindustan Times. Very good afternoon and thank you for joining me on the program. Were free and fair polls conducted in the first 2 phases of polling, and will we see the same in the next 3 phases as well?
The first phase was the weakest for the BJP-led NDA, and the second one was more equally balanced, But the third phase is the strongest phase of the NDA. So I believe they would like to home into that advantage and create create enough of winnability in this round to overcome whatever they may have missed in the first 2 rounds. So this round is very important, and if the BJP really presses home in this round, then we will have some substance to what Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. Anant Kumar, who's the election in charge for Bihar, have been saying, which is that by the time the fourth phase is over, they would have won enough seats without waiting for the 5th round of polling to take place. But Indeed. It all depends on how it goes, and both sides are, arraying themselves against each other with their advantages and disadvantages. For example, Mr. Lalu Prasad is pressing home that advantage of Mandal Commission and how, if the BJP was voted to office, it may roll back the existing reservation in jobs for the depressed classes. Whereas Mr. Amit Shah now is really going ahead and pressing ahead by refuting that charge. In fact, he has gone on record to say that the RSS is totally in favor of the reservations as they exist today. And the party is entirely in that. And any party or any rival who says otherwise is misleading the public.
Indeed. As far as the power of money, the power of arms, as well as liquor and other such items are concerned, what kind of an influence does it have in a state like Bihar? And has the Election Commission done a good job in trying and controlling these aspects?
Money, as we had an earlier conversation in which I told you that money is still a very, very big player. And despite all the seizures that you see are being reported on television, how every day the election commission puts out a bulletin which says how much money has been seized and things like that. But money is a big player, and but so far as arms are concerned, they have been very strict about arms. I don't think arms are being used to intimidate the voters or anything of that sort. So, but otherwise, liquor is a very, very local level thing.
Indeed, indeed. As far as, another aspect is the fact that the Bihar police is not manning these polling stations, but it is the paramilitary forces that are in charge of ensuring that, the polling stations are manned by them. So has that also ensured free and fair polling in Bihar?
Can't hear. नहीं सुनाई दे रहा.
Well, we seem to have lost the line there with our guest, of course, at this point in time, but we'll try and reconnect with him. In the meantime, let's move on to another story that we're tracking here on Rajya Sabha television. Now, BJP President Amit Shah is confident of the NDA's win in these assembly elections. Training guns at the Grand Alliance, Amit Shah said that if Nitish Kumar comes to power, then Lalu Prasad would indirectly control his government. Addressing a press conference in Patna, Shah said that the BJP is contesting the assembly elections on the development agenda and will definitely win. He also affirmed that the BJP supports the current reservation policy and has no plans to amend it.
मैं स्पष्टता न करना चाहता हूं मित्रों, ये पत्रकार वार्ता के माध्यम से कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी वर्तमान आरक्षण व्यवस्था की समर्थक है, इसमें किसी भी प्रकार के बदलाव का समर्थन नहीं करती है। संविधान ने दलित, आदिवासी और पिछड़े अति पिछड़ों को जो अधिकार दिया है, उसको अक्षुण्ण रखने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी कटिबद्ध है।
Rayatul Krishna, coming back to you now. Of course, the mood within the BJP camp seems to be upbeat once again. Last week we saw several reports in the newspapers as well as television channels carrying out, reports that the internal assessment of the BJP was that it was not doing very well in Bihar and hence had to change its poll tactic a little bit and ensure that they put some of the state leaders to the forefront. But Amit Shah, they're very clearly saying that the party is going to do extremely well and is very upbeat about the party's chances.
Indeed, that's true. Because you see, the BJP is the most well-organized party in this election. There is no other party which comes anywhere close to it. There are over 60,000 polling booths in Bihar, and barring, say, a small 2-3%, they have very, very well-organized booth committees in almost all of them. And, they are better positioned than any other party to get a feedback as to what has been happening. And they claim that by virtue of that feedback, they are very, very confident that they are doing very well. But then you see that is the assessment of a party, and nothing can be said with any degree of certainty because we don't know what is happening. But yes, they are confident and they are very well organized. If they have the votes, they'll win it. This is my thing.
Indeed, indeed. Anyway, it's not too far away now. We are halfway through the polling. We just have to wait for a couple of more weeks and then we'll get to know exactly which way this poll has gone. But, what is the sense that you're picking up from the ground? What is it that the people of Bihar are really talking about as far as these polls are concerned?
You see, the discourse is very, very divided, if you talk to somebody, people have become very smart. If what they say and what they mean may be totally different. So, to get a very, very definitive sense, as we had in last year's Lok Sabha elections, that was at times a very, very clear, at least to me, people may not have said it very publicly because, you stick your neck out and things go wrong and you make a fool of yourself. That's why they don't stick out. But I think that time it was a very, very definitive kind of a sentiment that was prevailing. That, I think, has diluted to some extent. In fact, but you see, the BJP leaders claim otherwise. Like the other day, I was talking to Mr. Anant Kumar, who is in charge of Bihar in the BJP. He's the election in charge, the overall boss in this election of the BJP. He said that he was the one who organized all of Mr. Modi's rally during the 2014 Lok Sabha election, and he is doing it again. And he says that he senses that the size of the crowd and the that interactive feedback that they get is better than the Lok Sabha election. And when I asked him whether Mr. Modi's novelty factor had worn off, he said, "You'll be surprised. Earlier, he was addressing rallies which covered several Lok Sabha constituencies.
Right.
This time, he's addressing rallies which are addressed to 5-6 assembly constituencies. And by that reckoning, he says, proportionately, the crowds are bigger, the feedback is better, and that is what he says. That is why he says Mr. Modi will win it. But then that's not the feedback that comes to us when we see media reports. So let's wait and see how it goes.
Indeed, we just have to wait and see. A few days away, just 18 days away is when, the counting will start, and we'll get to know by around 12 or 1 o'clock on the afternoon of November 8th as to which way these polls have headed. Do stay with us, Rajya Chaudhary. I'm going to come back to you in just a bit for another reaction, of course. In the meantime, let's slip into a short break. Much more lined up for you on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, a flurry of rallies were held across constituencies going to polls in the third phase in Bihar. While NDA leaders focused their speeches on the development issue, the Grand Alliance leaders took on the BJP campaigners on what they called lowering the quality of the election discourse. Here's more.
A confident BJP President Amit Shah on Monday addressed an election rally in Simli constituency in Buxar district. He trained his guns at the Grand Alliance, alleging that a potential Nitish Kumar government would always be remote controlled by Lalu Prasad Yadav.
नीतीश जी विकास का दम भरते हैं, विकास की बात करते हैं, उनके एक कंधे पर लालू प्रसाद यादव है, उसका जंगल राज है, और दूसरे कंधे पर कांग्रेस का 12 लाख करोड़ रुपयों का भ्रष्टाचार है। आप मुझे बताइए, एक कंधे पर जंगल राज और एक कंधे पर भ्रष्टाचार, विकास हो सकता है क्या?
Shah said the BJP is firmly focused on the development agenda and it will do everything to ensure the development of Bihar. He also said Nitish Kumar cannot bring development in the state because his alliances are not in favor of growth and development.
विकास करना है तो एनडीए के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनानी पड़ेगी, तभी जाकर विकास।
In Hajipur, former Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi led the charge for the NDA. At a rally in poll-bound Hajipur, Manjhi accused Chief Minister Nitish Kumar of hijacking his plans and taking credit for them.
छात्रवृत्ति का मामला हो, महिलाओं का आरक्षण का मामला हो, ये सारे मुद्दे हमारे थे जिसको हमने लागू करने का निर्णय लिया था, उस समय रद्द कर दिया था, बाद में उसको लागू कर रहे हैं। तो यदि हमारे सारे निर्णय उस समय था और हम पागल थे और उस निर्णय को आप लागू कर रहे हैं, तो जीतन मांझी से बड़ा पागल तो आप हैं, तो आपको फिर क्यों सत्ता में लाया जाए?
For the Grand Alliance, RJD Chief Lalu Prasad Yadav addressed an election rally in the Chhapra constituency. Targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the RSS, Lalu said BJP is led by the RSS. He said Modi's insults against Chief Minister Nitish Kumar are an affront to every citizen of the state. Voting has concluded for 2 phases in the Bihar 5-phase elections. Polling for the third phase will be held on 28th of October after a 12-day gap for Durga Puja and Dashera. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's go back to our guest right now who's still with us on the program, Rajya Krishna, Deputy Resident Editor of the Hindustan Times, and find out his thoughts on this. As far as the discourse itself is concerned, do you believe that the quality of the election discourse has been lowered by the political parties and the political parties have drifted away from the real focus areas?
Yeah, there was a phase in this election campaigning where the discourse got, what we call got to the pits. In fact, people called each other names which, I didn't know existed in political lexicon, like, for example, when Mr. Modi said that, when referring to Mr. Lalu Prasad's in Hindus Eat Beef statement, he said, later on, Mr. Modi pointed out that Mr. Lalu Prasad had, said that he said these things because a spirit had taken control over his mouth, and that is why he said those things. So later on, in reaction to that, Mr. Lalu Prasad said he called Mr. Narendra Modi a Brahm Pishach, a malevolent spirit which resides on people trees. So that kind of a thing happened in the middle phase of the campaigning. But now I see that the name calling has reduced to some extent, and now, just as Mr. Lalu Prasad is trying to drive home the caste point that the backwards and the Dalits were more secure in the hands of the Grand Alliance than Mr. Modi, the BJP is still pressing home with the development agenda and at the same time countering the charge that the BJP was any less committed to reservation than the Grand Alliance. So, discourse I see slightly improving from the days of name calling, but we still have 3 more phases to go, and I don't know what will happen.
Well, the discourse indeed certainly seems to be improving at the moment, but political parties seem to be indulging in a lot of rhetoric and going nowhere.
Rhetoric it is. Rhetoric is there in every election. But the extremities that have been touched upon in this election is something which is, I think, unprecedented, even when you compare it to the Lok Sabha election last year. So, in fact, the things that are being said, the things that are being promised are excessive in nature. And, it's just to, the idea seems to be to better the other person. Suppose one guy says cycle, the other guy says scooty, that kind of a thing. But I don't know what ultimately it will lead to. But, the parties are also changing or slightly fine-tuning their campaign pitch as they get feedback on what they have said earlier and how it is working or not working with the people. So I guess the discourse will go through some further changes, amendments in the days to come.
Indeed. All right. We'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Rai Atul Krishna, for joining us on the program and putting things into perspective for us and talking to us about several of those issues that we tracked here on Verdict 2015. Time now for what the leaders are talking about in Bihar in our segment Poll Bits.
जो उत्तर प्रदेश में कांग्रेस का और सपा का हाल हो गया, ऐसे ही नीतीश का और लालू का कहीं बिहार में हाल न हो जाए, ये भी मुझे आशंका है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी एनडीए के साथ 2/3 बहुमत से भी बड़े बहुमत से बिहार में सरकार बनाएगी।
एनडीए बीजेपी के गठबंधन की निश्चित हार बिहार में, वो अपनी जगह एक चीज है जो ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है, वो ये है कि चित भी मेरी पट भी मेरी वाली प्रक्रिया शुरू हो गई है। सब जानते हैं कि अगर हार होगी तो कहीं मोदी जी या अमित शाह का नाम नहीं आना चाहिए, अगर जीत होगी तो उसका सब श्रेय मोदी जी को मिलना चाहिए।
पहले ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी और अमित शाह जी अपना फोटो लगा करके होर्डिंग में हर जगह लगाते थे, और जिस दिन से उनको लगा कि माहौल खराब हो रहा है, तो आप देखे होंगे कि एनडीए के जो नेता हैं जो बिहार स्तर के, उनका फोटो धीरे धीरे लगाना शुरू कर दिया। तो भूमिका रची जा रही है।
Well, it's time for a short break now, but we'll be back with some ground reports from the far-flung areas of Bihar. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
India's star shining in global affairs.
The professional army of any country does not have faith, piety and jihad in the name of God.
From regional power to assertive global leader.
Sri Lanka denies that these violations took place.
We want India to be a superpower. We have been doing everything for decades, and we have been giving to India everything best we have.
Experts debate the nation's foreign policy.
We should not have any political preference of ours so far as Nepal is concerned.
Taliban were the creatures of Pakistan. Whatever people may say, they were created by Pakistan.
India's World with Bharat Bhushan on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, hundreds of villages in Bihar, even in this day and age, exist without electricity, shrouded in darkness as soon as dusk falls. The villagers and their children are looking for a way out of their powerlessness. Here's more.
Dakshin Patchirva village in West Champaran district. In daylight, it resembles any other Indian village. But when night falls, you encounter its real problem. Even after 67 years, power supply is yet to make an appearance here. With neither power poles nor cables, the villagers live in an era of kerosene camps and lanterns.
बिजली नहीं है या रोशनी हम लोगों को बच्चों को पढ़ने के लिए सब माने बहुत दिक्कत होती है। इस गांव में जो रोड भी चाहिए, स्टेट बोरिंग भी चाहिए और जो भी सुविधा माने बिजली तो नामे निशान नहीं है। जब से आज़ादी मिली तब से यहाँ बिजली का कोई नामे निशान नहीं।
तकलीफ हो कीड़ा फतिंगा डर लगेला रोटी पकाए में अनहार रहेला और लड़कों का पढ़ाई के दिक्कत हो जाता साफ।
In an age where India is celebrating its foray into the Martian orbit, children of the villagers are living in darkness, trying to educate themselves in the light of these lamps.
हमारे घर में बिजली नहीं है, बिजली रहेगी तो हम लोग रोशनी से पढ़ सकेंगे। इसके लिए हम लोग पढ़ाई की दिक्कत हो रही है, बिजली नहीं है इसलिए।
Dakshin Patchirva isn't the only village in the state that has no electricity. In this respect, it shares its plight with thousands of other Indian villages. But villagers are hoping that these elections will usher in a change and bring them closer to power. From Betia, Ravin Sharan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, with a rich cultural and historical legacy, Nalanda aspires to be a place of great tourism interest. But somehow that has not happened. Lack of adequate initiatives has left Nalanda's potential untapped. Here's a ground report.
Nalanda is the living symbol of our ancient culture. History records that it had the first global university, vestiges of which survive even today. The founder of the Jain faith, Mahavir, was born here, while the Shanti Stupa stands testimony to the Gautam Buddha's teachings of peace, as does the Dargah of Sufi saint Hazrat Sheikh Sharafuddin Ahmad. But modern-day Nalanda is a story of neglect.
पर्यटन के लिए यहाँ पे सबसे पहले मूलभूत में उनके लिए कम्युनिकेशन जो है सही लोकेशन देने के लिए टमटम रिक्शा चालक ये सब थोड़ा अपने आप को सुदृढ़ हो जाए और सही लोकेट करें। थोड़ा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को भी थोड़ा सा व्यवस्थित कर दिया जाए और पानी की व्यवस्था कर दें जिससे कि पर्यटकों की यहाँ बढ़ावा हो जाएगी।
Despite having so many places of tourist interest, basic amenities like water are absent. Squalid conditions combined with a crumbling law and order situation to keep the tourism industry depressed.
यहाँ पे मुख्य पानी और बिजली की समस्या है। बिजली की समस्या तो कुछ हद तक निदान हो गई है, लेकिन पानी की समस्या अभी तक बरकरार है। ज़्यादा गंदगी का भरमार होता है जिसके कारण पर्यटक लोग यहाँ आना पसंद नहीं करते हैं और रोजगार का साधन कम है यहाँ, इसलिए परेशानी होती है लोगों को।
Nalanda has 7 Vidhan Sabha seats. In 2010, the JDU took 6 and BJP won. This time, the Bihar Sharif MLA has switched sides from the JDU to the BJP. He blames Nitish Kumar's regime for the backwardness in the area. On the other hand, the JDU candidate tells you what the Nitish administration has achieved.
Law and order जब तक सुधार नहीं होगा, जब तक पर्यटक नहीं आएंगे। बीच में सुधार हुआ था जब एनडीए की सरकार थी, लेकिन जैसे ही नीतीश जी ने साथ उनका छोड़ा, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर बहुत खराब हो गया। जहां तक हमारे क्षेत्र की बात है, हमारे क्षेत्र में हमने इतना विकास किया है कि आप हमारे क्षेत्र में घूमेंगे तो एक गली ऐसा नहीं मिलेगा, एक रोड ऐसा नहीं मिलेगा जो कच्चा है।
Nalanda will have elections in the third phase. Once a formidable cultural and educational force on the global stage, it will be looking for its golden age once again. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Verdict 2015. Have a good day.